I always joke that the only thing I did with my pants on to get my license was take the test, meaning like I did the class from home in my underwear. Yes, I am on Netflix's Buying Beverly Hills.
Oh my God.
Yes, the most expensive house I sold was just north of 15 million.
Oh my stars.
They'll always tell you, like, you gotta know the market, you gotta know the market, you gotta know the market. I'm here to tell you that yes, you have to know it, but you do not necessarily need to be an Encyclopedia Britannica to get the job. If you track and measure, if you have a clear vision, mission, values, you will transform your hobby into a business.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of Glennda's Guru. I'm just a little bit starstruck. I am in the floor because today I get to interview Ben Belack. OMS. I remember the first time that I saw your name on this like hillside, cliffside, like ginormous house. And I was like, one day I'm going to meet him and it's going to be so cool. And today you're here with me. Thank you so much.
Of course, it's my pleasure, Glennda. I've been a huge fan for a long time, as you know. I've always really admired the type of content and branding you've created. And you tell one of the best stories ever where you sold the house to the wrong house to someone. I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Oh my gosh.
Great story.
Well, you know what? It's a little bit crazy because I drove by that house the other day and I was thinking to myself, did I really sell the wrong house and not go to jail? Did that really happen? So it was, it's one of my favorite stories and I'm so glad it turned out well. But today it's all about you. So we have not met in person, but we've been here, there, and everywhere. I feel like we should have.
I know. I think we were supposed to meet and speak together at Inman in Vegas, and I got really sick, and I never get sick. And at the last second, I pulled the plug. And then also a couple Tom Ferry masterminds that Jason Pantana forgot to tell me about.
Exactly. So we have been meaning to get together, but we have not been able to get together. But guess what? I am going to be in LA in June.
Oh, cool.
I'm coming out there to a wedding at St. Mary's School or something or other. And so I'm going to be out there for the weekend. So I'd love to see you if you're available. But great. So for my viewers who, which I can't even imagine who that is, who don't know exactly who you are, give us the summary, give us the rundown on who you are.
Well, who I am, I grew up in Philadelphia. I went to Penn State for a year. I transferred to San Diego State where I did 3 years of college. I graduated in 2001. I was pursuing an acting career very seriously while in San Diego. And then ultimately for over a decade, with every cell in my body in Los Angeles, I had a good run and I was tired of working in hospitality. So I made the jump into real estate because someone said they thought I would be good at it. It wasn't anything more complicated or thoughtful than that. I always joke that the only thing I did with my pants on to get my license was take the test, meaning I did the class from home in my underwear. I found a mentor at Keller Williams. I worked with him for about 3.5 years. We were there for about 9 months. We went to Telus before, when Sharon owned it. They ultimately sold to Douglas Elliman. 2 years later to the month, we went to the agency. 9 months after that, he and I stopped working together. I was ready to go out on my own. I probably was sooner than that. That was in, I think, 2014. It's crazy to even think about. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I now, obviously, I'm in my home right now in the Hollywood Hills. I I have a team. My team was about 13 agents or so. As the market retracted a bit, we got a little bit more focus on culture and making sure we had the right group together. So now we're 7. I have a few staff, and yeah, I'm headquartered at the agency in Beverly Hills.
So, but I think maybe, and maybe it's just me, I think you left out like something really huge, like this whole like buying Beverly Hills thing. I
I didn't
mean,
even think about that.
am I just like, are you just such a big star that like that is not even like on the resume or something?
Yes, I am on Netflix's Buying Beverly Hills.
Oh my God.
Yes,
So let me ask you a question. So you sell all kinds of houses. What's the least expensive home you've ever sold? And what's the
300,000.
most expensive house?
The most expensive house I sold was just north of 15 million.
Oh my stars. And so when you're dealing with numbers that are like that big, houses that are that big, do you like what goes through your head about like how confident do you have to be in your abilities to just like have the like chutzpah to do that? Like I can't even imagine like how do you have the nerve to do $15 million house?
I think when we get nervous, it's because we want something really bad. I think that's the source of the nerves. Yes, it can definitely be harder, and it's exciting going in for, let's say, like your record high. I would say that the job is still remains very nuanced. I think at that level, generally speaking, with high net worth individuals, they're much calmer communicators. They're a little bit more disguised. They're generally a bit more sophisticated. So it's a little bit easier to communicate with them and back and forth, although they usually know all the homes that have traded nearby anyway, generally speaking, or their team does. They often will have a business manager or a family office. But a lot of the times, it's still, a lot of it still has to do with, I would say, two things, right? People hire who they know, like, and trust. I would say it's 90% of that is no. If they don't know who you are, either from a referral or from prospecting, you're out of the game. And then it's your job to be likable. And then as far as the trust goes, you have to be willing to articulate in an intelligent manner your take on whatever role it is that you're playing in that moment. And what I mean by that is whether it's how you're a master marketer and advertiser, a case study on how you negotiated or how you relaunched something that your competitor couldn't sell and you sold it, or on market conditions. I know many of my colleagues, like John Grauman, for example, who you know, and also one of the founders of my company, Blair Chang, they'll always tell you, like, you got to know the market, you got to know the market, you got to know the market. I'm here to tell you that, yes, you have to know it, but you do not necessarily need to be an Encyclopedia Britannica to get the job.
I love that. So you mentioned that you made a move to the agency in 2014. I feel like it was relatively new at that point.
It's funny that you asked that question. It was, at that point, there were 70 agents, and and now we have, I think, 115 offices. So it was extremely tough then to get into the firm. And I remember our first office meeting, we were going over pocket listings, and people were saying like they had stuff that was 14 million, 20 million. And I was like, am I in the right room? But at that time, before they relaxed the gates, I should say, to getting into our company, my mentor really didn't really make it important to make the founders know what I was doing. So I remember I had to go around and like beg them to stay, because when I broke away from him, he was kind of the star. and they didn't really know me or my resume. And thankfully, I convinced them to let me stay. I did like 5 transactions fairly quickly, and now the rest is history. But I will never forget going and like begging them to not kick me out.
Well, I've had the opportunity to meet Mauricio and hang out with a lot of the agency people because, my friend Tyler started the agency here or in the Hamptons. I say here, but in the Hamptons.
Yes.
And it's what a great group. What an amazing culture. When I look at the agency, obviously, I think really like hip and happening. But what I love about the agency is that it feels like to me that they are really focused on their culture and doing real estate different, but doing it in such a manner that the agent really is the nucleus of the deal.
Here's what I'll tell you, at least since I was there pretty much in the beginning, is that part of the foundation of when our company was created is that our founders, Mauricio and Billy, felt like there was a fracture in the real estate community. And what I mean by that is for the last 100 years, Coldwell Bankers of the world, they were splitting commissions with their agents 50-50. In exchange, they paid for a bunch of their fees, like desk fees, et cetera. At some point in the 80s, the agents gained leverage and said, we want to be 75-25. And then the agents said, the brokerages said, fine, but you're going to pay for your own marketing costs. Once they started paying for their own marketing costs, they started branding away from the brokerage, the Busy Blondes, Team 2000, Rose and Chang. And when they started branding away from each other, it started pushing them away from each other. I remember a big brokerage here that was legendary before the agency was created, where Mauricio was before he created the agency. And like you could go in there and everyone's in the office, but all the doors are closed. They were guarding information. They thought that was their value proposition. What the agency wanted to do was create a company where it was extremely collaborative. When you hire one of us, you hire all of us. Our offices are like no ceiling. They're glass, so you can see and hear what everyone is saying and doing by design. And they wanted to bring the agents of their brokerage back together, which is why you often see us teamed up working on things, because we believe that one of us better serves the client, and part of something is better than all of nothing. And I think that collaborative nature also builds a familial culture from a recruiting standpoint. It's hard to recruit agency agents away from the agency.
Yeah, I'd have to think long and hard, but I think that I don't know that I could name one agent that's left there. So what a great testament that is to the company. So you're a real estate agent. You started, you wanted to be an actor, and then all of a sudden the worlds collide and you are on a hit Netflix series. In your head, like what are you thinking at that point? You're like, I always wanted to be an actor, and now I get to be an actor, but in real life, and what I do in real life, what my passion is. Like what's going through your head when you're reading an article about Ben Belack, from Netflix? Like, don't you just like freak out?
I would say, it's funny because my friend Zach on the show, like, he hates my answers to this because they usually seem like maybe ungrateful or unenthusiastic. The truth is that I hated reality TV show as an actor. When I came to LA, there was an actor strike, and reality shows like Survivor were born, and they removed our leverage to get negotiations done. And I just really judged it because I saw myself as an artist. And in 17, I attended a very small mastermind group. And from that group, I came to the realization after 2 days that to get to incoming phone calls, which is what I wanted, like the Billies and the Mauricios of the world, I either had to be in the business for many decades, and I got into the business late, at least in my opinion, or I could be on TV. So I couldn't rush being in the business for 3 decades, and I couldn't put myself on television. So I decided I was going to go hard on content creation, because my new strategy was to be known. It was more important to me than anything. It was more important to me than telling people my average sales price, a list price in a neighborhood was 103%. Didn't care anymore. All I wanted was to be known. So I started making content like crazy. The Beverly Hills Super Realtor was born kind of by accident. And then when you flash forward to casting for our show, and basically they met like everyone in the company, I learned later that the casting and production's biggest fear in a reality show is that someone's going to be a certain way in an interview, but then when these big TV cameras show up, people are going to clam up. And I think because I had this body of content outside of my acting stuff, they were like, okay, this is how he's going to be for sure. This is him on camera now, so we can count on him to be this way. So does the press and all that stuff, is it cool? Sure. Do I love when I go on listing appointments and they go, we know you from the show, and it helps a team member get a listing? That's huge. I was in Mexico City this weekend for a wedding, and at the rehearsal dinner, these guys were handing out cocktails, and this dude, local Mexican guy, was like, I know you from the show, you sell houses. And I'm like, okay, now we're talking about being known.
Yeah, it's huge. I remember when I started seeing like all of your content, and I'm like, who is this guy? Like, who is this? And I was seeing all of it, and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like one day I'm going to have like that many followers. I think I had like 12 followers. And I'm like, one day I'm going to have that many followers. And I literally, I loved your content because it was rich visually, but it was just in everything that you talked about, everything that you put out. I always felt like I walked away knowing more. And cool. So what attracted me was the visual, and what kept me was because I always felt like whenever I listened to you, whenever I watched something that you posted, I always felt like I walked away better, that it wasn't a waste of my time or my attention.
Oh, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have to tell you, for me, having the opportunity to interview somebody like you, in my wildest dreams, like that doesn't happen. Like, I'm a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia, and I look at, all of the accomplishments that you've had and your position in the industry. And I'm so thankful that you're here with me today. What are you working on right this very second that you're most excited about? What are you doing that is like pulling you out of the bed, making you just all excited?
I get a tremendous amount of fulfillment transferring my skills. So building and nurturing the team is, when they get wins, like I have an emotional reaction to it. I would say it's not necessarily been my most profitable from a financial aspect venture because of how much time it takes. And I am extremely organized and efficient. So I know a lot of team leads are kind of running around with their head cut off, but I have systems and staff in place that are kind of automatically prompted to reduce the GOTA minutes, if you will. But I would say that I get so excited watching the team members grow personally and professionally. So that's been my focus. And then it also allows me to get uncomfortable too and push to higher and higher price points, because I can focus my time on that a little bit more.
What is the one skill that you transfer to a team member that you think helps them the most?
Wow. That's a great question. I wish they were on to hear this. I think at the end, the Tom Ferry ecosystem had a little bit of trouble coaching me because I'm kind of like balanced left and right brain. So on the one hand, I really push them to get out of their comfort zone from a creative standpoint. And then on the other hand, I really nurture them because I really got over the hump because I became a great prospector. I think the biggest thing now in talking that out, thanks for your patience, is that if you do the thing, you have the power. If you show up and you're consistent, if you track and measure, if you have a clear vision, mission, values, and along with an accountability cadence, you will transform your hobby into a business. And I think I do a really good job inspiring and motivating them to get out of their comfort zone and understand that the opportunities are on the other side of the discomfort. I think that's really the best thing I give them.
I think that it's not only a skill set that you teach them, but it's a skill set that you show them. And I know that for myself, just having the opportunity to kind of stand back and observe how you run your business and how you handle yourself on screen, on social, and in person. I think that it kind of goes back to what those casting directors are most concerned about. You are the same person no matter what medium I'm seeing you on. And I think that's
true.
And I think that really is that's your superpower, is that you have the ability to really transfer that skill set not only to your team members, but also to model it. And so I love that.
Yeah, I mean, to tag onto that, I think I'm probably not for everyone. But as you've heard, I'm sure before, your vibe attracts your tribe, and I'm okay being myself unapologetically because I feel like when I'm being myself, I'm in the pocket more, and when I'm in the pocket, I'm being in the best service to the consumer, but also to my team members.
Well, yeah, and when you're in the pocket, you have the best vantage point to see where you can be the most valuable.
Totally.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that. And I want to thank you so much for taking just a little bit of time here with me. I have to tell you, Ben, as I said in the beginning, I am a little starstruck. But what blows my mind is I have the opportunity to talk to amazing real estate agents all over the country, and that they give me their time and their attention. And I just want you to know how much that really, really means to me. And I am a big fan on and off screen, and I can't wait to see you in person and hug your neck. So thank you so much for spending some time here with me.
Thank you. This was incredible. Congrats on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Glennda's Guru, my podcast, available through the Glennda Gazette. And today I had the opportunity to interview Ben Belack with the agency and selling Beverly Hills on Netflix that he buying Beverly Hills.
Stop promoting Jason Oppenheim.
Sorry. Whew, let's cut that out.
It's okay.
It's
I'm
like
kidding.
a bad
We're
word.
buds.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. You're not our buddies. It's okay.
I'm just cutting up with you. Buying Beverly Hills on Netflix, which he left off of his resume, I might add. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with me today. As I always say, my name is Glennda Baker. I'm a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia. Send me a text, tag me in a post, give me a call. That's what I love the most, because I love the opportunity to talk real estate with you today. See ya.